I'm Sean Reeder. I'm the offensive line coach at Ithaca College. This would have been our fourth season here at Ithaca as a staff under head coach Dan Swanstrom. Just a little bit of background on me. I'm up here in central New York now, getting snowed on a little bit in the winter. But I play for our head coach here. Dan Swanstrom was my offensive coordinator in college at Johns Hopkins University. After I graduated from Hopkins, I moved back to California. I'm from California originally. I coached at a high school there, and then a Division III college in Southern California named California Lutheran University. I did spend some time in the Midwest too, a Division II school called Wayne State College out in Nebraska. So I'm used to the snow a little bit. Being from California, I saw it a little bit at school in Baltimore, and then got some exposure to it in Nebraska as well. And now going into our fourth year here at Ithaca, really excited to be here in this platform and expose ourselves to some of the great coaches throughout the country, but specifically in Ohio. For me particularly, we have a sophomore offensive lineman from Walsh Jesuit down in Cleveland who we just did our testing yesterday. He ended up broad jumping, over, I think 8'8" was his broad jump at almost 300 pounds. So we're really excited about what he's doing going forward. And we know that's the type of caliber of athlete that's in the state of Ohio. So really excited to kind of show you a little bit about what our teaching progression is here for the offensive line, specifically in pass protection. I'll go ahead and get some of this video up here about our pass protection progression and what we look for in the offensive line. Okay, when you look at us as a football program, we've been more successful each year since we've been here. We weren't great on offense our first year here, but we ended up last year as the 13th ranked passing offense in the country in Division III. So obviously our pass protection is a big part of that. For last year, they would look different and skewed differently than they would the first 2 years with our guys here. And you look at what I'm doing now, where I'm bringing along, we have no returning starters because we didn't play a season last year, and I'm bringing along 6 freshmen and sophomores who really have no playing experience. I'm really starting everything from the ground up, going straight posture and demeanor and all the workouts we're doing right now as well. So it's going to look differently from year to year, but my base progression is on this. And then when you look on a game by game basis, there's no cookie cutter best way to do things. But this is what we found success with the type of single back spread offense that we are. But it's going to look slightly different from player to player and from drill to drill. Some players, the guys that we get as Division III offensive linemen, there's a big spectrum in terms of size, in terms of ability, in terms of flexibility. So the players might look a little different, each guy doing each drill. And I'm all right with that. Each drill might be a little different looking from guy to guy, one guy on offense, another guy on defense, might do things a little differently. And there's certainly some space in this game for allowing for that kind of thing. But there are non-negotiables that we ask for in the drills that must be emphasized when we're doing anything in the drills that we're working. And then the last thing is on a game-by-game basis, when you look at pass protection, our pass protection plan for each game is going to be very specific on what we're going to see. An odd front team versus an even front team, a pressure team versus a drop 8 team. We're going to have different answers in overall schematics. But the biggest thing, I'm not going to get too much into schematics here. The biggest thing that I will say is pass protection is a 12-man job. It is not 5 offensive linemen, a 5-guy job. It's 12 guys. It's the 11 guys on the field. It's the coaching staff on the sideline too. Okay, the quarterback, wide receivers, running backs in protection. Those are the guys that are in charge of protecting the quarterback. And just as an example of what that looks like here, I'll go ahead and smooth out this play this a little bit so it plays a little smoother. What that looks like here, when you look at us, the last game we played in the regular season, this is us in MetLife Stadium in front of 45,000 fans. This is with the game on the line here, 3rd down. We either have to punt and give them a chance to go down and score, win the game, or we get a 1st down. That pretty much ends it. And this is us on the sideline. You can see me up top here. We go with the look back tempo. Pass protection as a 12-man job. This is me on the sideline coaching our guys so that at the snap, we're yelling reverse. We yell reverse from the sideline right here. Get these guys to bite on the reverse here. Take pressure off the quarterback. Give a little cheese to this boundary safety and be able to throw it right over his head. Okay. But that's us on the sideline. I'm yelling it here. Obviously, there's no sound for this, but you can see our guys on the sideline right behind me are yelling reverse, reverse to slow that protection down and be able to throw the ball over their head. Okay. And that's that 12-man job that I'm talking about. And same thing we talk about here as a room. I meet with the running backs usually as well, but our running backs do a great job taking bites out of defenders too. You can see 25 here at running back, being able to take a little extra bite out of that hip and really help our right tackle and give our quarterback as much time as possible in protection. And that's really what we're looking for, that 12-man job protection from everybody on the field. Okay. Now, the things I talk about with my guys, our goal and our job in pass protection, if you asked any of our guys, what's your job in pass protection, they're all going to say protect the quarterback. Okay. It's not just to block this guy or to be in front of that defender or to move guys to the sideline. Their job is to protect the quarterback. All right. And what things we talk about in order to do that are to guarantee the inside of the pocket by never getting beat to the inside. All right. So the quarterback can escape upward instead of having to bounce outside, and he can drive into throws. Never get beat to the inside and guarantee the inside of the pocket. The number 2 thing is understanding their aiming points. Okay. Based on where the quarterback's throwing the ball, whether it's a pocket protection or boot protection, whether it's a quick protection or a drop back protection where we can be more aggressive in the quick game to try to get their hands down, or we can set a little more vertically with a little better tempo in the drop back game. They must understand that on a protection basis and in their technique that we ask them to utilize for when they're in the midst of the protection. And then generally in the pass game, inside peck is going to be our aiming point for their helmets. I'm a big believer when you look at my coaching philosophy, if you put the head where the ball is and then relate your hips and your feet to your head, then you're doing a pretty good job. You're going to take away the worst thing that can happen most of the time on defense. All right. But guarantee the inside of the pocket, understand your aiming point from where the quarterback is and from where your body should be, and then recognize blitz indicators on a game-by-game basis for the defense to be able to protect the quarterback. Okay. Our pass fit, the things we're looking for in the pass fit, like I said, helmet inside peck is going to be generally our aiming point on that inside peck. Ball inside, helmet inside. We're going to use low independent hands, keeping our hips open to our gap or our man, depending on the protection responsibilities. All right. And actually, I had a chance to listen to Kyle Flood at one of the clinics last week. What he talks about with his guys all the time, their posture in the run and the pass game. He looks for feet outside of hips, knees inside of ankles, get that good double triangle with the knees inside the ankles and the feet outside the hips, a flat back, and a big ass and a big chest. And that's what I've been harping on with our guys, even in just this past couple weeks when we've been able to work with them as we start the winter and spring semester here. Okay. So feet outside your hips, knees inside your ankles, flat back, big ass, and a big chest, keeping your head inside that defender. Okay, and the drills we utilize to accomplish this, Z drill for me is going to be an everyday drill. We do this year round, really. Our kids will be doing it after they lift, taking 5 to 10 minutes to do some of these drills, and Z drill is going to be one that we do every day. And all Z drill is we're working great posture with a post and a kick demeanor, focusing on keeping your post foot up throughout the rep and transitioning from your kick to your post and vice versa. And this is just on air, but as you transition from that kick to the post, visualize the defender crossing your face, skimming our feet across the ground as we do it, mowing grass and not taking big choppy steps, really standing up and too much bend in our knees. We want to keep a good base with that post foot up, like I said, and generally speaking, we'll work vertically on the kick. If we're working a quicker protection, we might set it more of an angle, but you'll see some differences here as we kind of get into it. All right. So Z drill here, starting off for the drill, Focus on keeping our eyes up with our post foot up as well. All right, then being able to transition here from the kick as Bernie is going to the post and using our feet independently from one another and being able to move our feet without taking big swinging motions with our arms. As you can see, 65 does a pretty good job there, keeping that post foot up. Left foot's up the whole rep. And you can see this is on air. We'll get to a version of a mirror drill later where we get a defender, but he's given depth as the defender attacks his outside. So for us, the post foot is going to be where the quarterback is. So there's the quarterback, there's the center. So he's playing right side of the line here. Healy over on this side is playing left side of the line. All right, but he's keeping that post foot up the whole time. As the defender goes outside, he's going to give a little ground, and then imagine that defender crosses his face. He's going to work that transition from the kick to the post, okay? And I always feel it's my job as a college offensive line coach to really be able to coach the pass game. And what we look for when we're recruiting guys is guys who are able to move people off the ball. And I feel like if they're able to move people off the ball and show they can do that in the run game, then we've got to be able to coach them in the pass game and make them figure out how to stay in front of a defender in the pass game. Okay. And this is a big part of that, really understanding how to utilize your feet independent of your hands and your feet independent of one another, keeping a good base on the ground. Okay. So we see the difference between, you know, an older veteran back here versus a younger guy here. Really one of his first times doing the drill, takes big steps with his back foot way off the ground back here. No balance in his base. We want to keep relative balance, not have too much difference in our weight distribution between our post and our kick foot, staying around 50-50 back there. So we can see a little different there watching the young guy do it. Versus one more time back here, skimming that post foot as we get the transition going from that kick to the post, okay? All right, and you can see 76, this is a couple years ago, but he ended up being an All-American at tackle here, does a great job. Knee inside his ankles, feet outside his hips, flat back with a big ass and a big chest. And we're looking for that posture in everything we do, but specifically with an extra proud chest in the pass game because we're not trying to move people. A little different with a freshman here, get a little more knee flare from 79. We can see that knee flare a little bit out there. Love to see that knee stay right inside of that ankle to be able to transition from your kick to your post. Okay, so this is an easy, no contact drill that our guys can do almost year round. All right, and then we'll see this transition to game film. And when I watch our drills, what I really want to see is I want to see stuff we're drilling transition to be able to put on tape when we go live reps. And I talk with our guys about this all the time. You really have to overemphasize your focus and what we're looking for in individual drills when you're not going against a defender, because that's the only way it will transition to live periods. You must really overemphasize the fundamentals of what we're looking for. So here's our right tackle going a little Z drill, and you can see how quick this stuff can happen. He goes with a kick to an outside threat to start. Defender crosses his face, must post back to the inside, and he actually has to move his left foot here twice before he moves his right foot at all to keep that good kick post demeanor. You see that left foot move twice. Good demeanor, is able to stay in front of the defender, get to that great posture, staying in front of the defender, guaranteeing the inside of the pocket, and finishing that Z drill all the way through that rep. Okay, and this is the first thing that we really look for in the pass game, specifically for first-year players who, you know, may come from high schools that don't pass the ball at all. They just haven't been experienced in these types of movements. So that transition from the kick to the post, keeping great posture and great base with your feet is really what we start things with. And then we'll transition to our hands and being able to punch after that independently of our feet. So the next thing we'll do is a punch down the line, working a great base and demeanor, just as we started with that first drill, but we're going to post laterally right down the line, Visualize getting in front of the defender and then punching either with a two-hand punch with our double thumbs up, or we'll also work single hand combos using our hands independently. Okay. As we said to this punch, this is not a speed drill. You don't need to see guys machine gunning down the line. You're going to see an easy post down that line, keeping that inside foot up. But we want to be able to see them moving their hands independently from their feet. And as they said, exploding to that punch from the core. I don't want to see them leaving their hands out here as targets for defenders as we punch and set down the line. Okay. Okay. So we don't two-hand punch a ton, but when we do, the things I tell them in the two-hand punch is to make a W and win their punch, make that W with their thumbs together and their thumbs up, but it should be the same technique, even if you're going with a single hand punch, is getting that thumb up and out to be able to create power from your core and not just your shoulders. You're punching with that thumb in and the elbow out. Then that thumb up will tighten that elbow naturally. And you can see an easy post down the line, keeping that right foot up here, setting with your hands tight to your core. And we want to keep this bent arm's length. So you can see, again, 76 does a pretty good job here, never getting his arms completely straight. Whereas going to this last rep, you can see 64. I don't want to see straight arms. Okay, there's no power in this position with these straight arms. Okay, so we can see 76 does a good job here, keeping that bent arm's length. And again, like I said, the emphasis for this drill is I want to see them move their feet in front of the defender so that they're punching with their head and their target already straight up. I don't want to see 76 punching from the defender when he's not in front of him. Okay, that's not the focus of this drill specifically, because I'm working on getting those feet in front of guys and then being able to respond with your hands. Okay. So this is an easy punch down the line drill. Here's these guys doing it on their own without me even in attendance here after a weightlifting session. You can see we go with the single hand variation here. Good, easy post, good demeanor from Josh here. Thumb up and out as he sets and punches down the line. A little different demeanor from Vil here. Not as great, not great attention to detail from him here. We need better bend in these power angles and lower hips with that big ass that Coach Flood was talking about. But you can see they're not beating the hell out of each other here. And this is why they can do these drills year round. It's focus on attention to detail, being able to punch independently with your hands and your feet, and keep your thumb up and out as you do it. Okay, so there's a off-season work. Here's us just this last week doing the drill, social distancing with these 6 feet cylinders. All right, so we've all had to make adjustments with this, but here's us doing the same drill. Soft post, keeping that inside foot up, backside foot back, independent hand punch, and here's us going with a high hand, low hand variation. So he's going to punch now. Watch him get to the second one. He's going to punch, making contact with his high hand with his left hand, and then low hand with his right hand. So Shibba does a little better job here. Makes contact left hand. You can see the thumb up and out, keeps the elbow tight, and then he'll replace that with his right hand underneath. Okay, he's a vet. He's a junior now, whereas Anselmo's only a freshman. You can see the difference. Thumb up and out, tight elbow, independent hands, versus the freshman here. A little different, punching with that thumb. He's got his thumb inside now. We really want to see that thing turned out to create power from your core and tighten that elbow. Here's Vil again. Better attention to detail, a little better bend here from that last rep we saw. And here's a freshman. This is pretty good looking for a freshman here. Independent feet, independent hands. Keep that elbow nice and tight and that thumb up and out. Okay. So when you look at us transitioning that punch now to an actual game situation, we'll watch 76 here, who was the guy we saw in a couple drills now, ended up being an All-American as a senior. If you're going to be a tackle in our offense, you've got to be an elite pass protector. Okay. And he's set into an inside shade. He's manned on in this protection. Shade ends up going in back outside, but there he goes. Single hand punch, thumb up and out, inside pec demeanor. Good base, big ass, big chest, good triangles. All right. But he's utilizing that single hand punch. That's exactly why we practice this stuff. We want to see that end up on film. Okay, same kid here at left tackle, 76 again. A little different set now. He's got an outside shade. We're in a drop back pass for this one. He's going to set with some depth and almost vertical set this thing. Again, single hand punch with that right hand here. Thumb up and out, tight elbow. A little too much lean probably, but he's a good job rebalancing himself here. And mirror into that spin move, pushing that thing right back out. Okay, and that's how we should see that punch down the line transition from our indie drills to our team drills. Okay, one more here from the left tackle. Setting. You can see he goes a little bit more with a two-handed punch, but you can see his hands are independent and he keeps his inside hand right to that pec plate under the defender's arm. All his power is inside of that core. He has a chance to get longer arms if he needs to because his hands are underneath and inside the defenders. And he's got that right or that left outside hand underneath the defender as well, even lower than his right hand. Great balance, getting into that good posture. Okay, so that's working the initial contact phase of the punch. So we worked our feet in Z drill. We worked our initial contact with our hands and that punch down the line. And the next thing we're going to do now, once we make contact with the defender, is mirror him forever. All right. And this is my version of a traditional mirror dodge drill, where we're actually going to work a little more pressure at some point, and a little tighter demeanor. And we might actually give a little more ground than we would in you know, a traditional side-to-side mirror dodge. But the reason I like doing this is because it really utilizes the same drill setup that we use for Z drill, just with a partner. And it gives them that mirror guy on defense to be able to mirror, but do it by defining a post and a kick foot for themselves. So the biggest thing we fight in Z drill and transition for the freshmen is when a guy has a chance and gets an inside move, the first thing they naturally want to do is change their post foot and their kick foot. Well, for the Z drill, we're working on keeping that post foot up as we transition. We want to do the same thing for Z drill here. All right, we're staying nice and tight to the defender for the setup within a bent arm's length of that inside pec. And we're going to vertical kick or lateral post for the most part for this drill. And again, we're not looking for speed at the start here. Okay, so we can see what the tempo's like. Set up basically for Z drill. We've got one guy on offense, one guy on defense, and they'll start this rep with a normal set. So if we're working a quick protection, we might actually angle set this thing. If we're working a drop back protection or expecting a twist, we might vertically set off the start here. So you can see 65 starting with a vertical set, and then he's working straight into Z drill again, staying nice and tight with that inside pec. And he's a little far here. I'd love to see his helmet nice and tight with that inside pec within that bent arm's length. Okay. So we'll get a couple reps of these in. Watch 62 here. I'll go over the counter drills at the start, but he does a little better job. 62 staying. You can see this is his post foot here. So he's staying right with that 9 on that inside pec throughout the rep. Nice and tight. I shouldn't see much distance, shutting off that inside move. And as he gets that defender inside, you can see he drives that post foot up. Okay. So pretty good reps there. And that's what we're looking for in Z drill. Now we'll add at the start. You saw a couple notes on here. We'll start these reps with the counter move. So the defense for that first part of the drill, as we get that initial set, he'll throw a move. Sometimes I'll tell him which move to run. Sometimes I'll let him go dealer's choice on their own. But our counter moves for the rip here is that defender rips. What I tell our guys is as he rips and tries to run this hoop and get to the quarterback right here, you know, this is the angle he wants to take. We want to get aggressive and get right to that hip and throw him off the hoop on a tangent line and drive him away from the quarterback. So that's one of the counter moves we'll do there. Starting off with the hoop. Another one might be the spin, where you can see the defender spin here. As the defender spin, we want to work getting our head out and then mirror in right in front and keeping our normal base demeanor. And then we'll actually finish these reps sometime as well with a hard inside move from the defender here. So you can see as we get to this finish position, the defender should make a hard inside move, like he's trying to get to the quarterback. And at that point, we want to take him and run him aggressively back into the line and not give up any color inside of us to where that quarterback's going to be. Okay. So sometimes it's all you can get is the shoulder. If you can get to the hip, it's great. Sometimes all he presents is the shoulder, but we want to get aggressive and run this thing. And this is the only time I allow them now to drop their post foot, probably have to open those hips and throw this thing back into the line of scrimmage. Okay. You can see these aren't very physical drills. They can do these year round, and we're not going with great speed here. We get that finish here. They kind of run into each other on defense, but we really want to see with that finish. You can see the far one throwing that dude back into the line of scrimmage. Okay. We'll see how this translates now to our drill work. Watch the counter move, specifically getting to that hip. The right tackle here, setting vertically initially, goes with a one-hand punch. 90 rips, pulls and rips to the outside. You can see he does a good job getting that hand a little high initially. He lowers it, gets that right hand to his hip, and where 96's path on that hoop right now is directly here, he's able to throw that defender off on that tangent line and deepen his path to the quarterback. All of a sudden, now he's able to fit this thing back up, and he's in a great situation, does a great job getting ready for that late inside move as he understands, hey, the defender's not going to beat me outside anymore. I've got my hand to that hip. He can't rip past me anymore. I'll come back to balance and step that thing back up, okay? So great job here by the right tackle, working that counter move. A similar situation here for the right tackle. Again, single hand punching. Great patience getting to the hip. Just like we talked about, pushing that defender past the quarterback. And again, once you get past the quarterback, doing a great job understanding, hey, the defender's got to re-leverage if he's going to either keep contained or try to get to the quarterback. We've got to come back to balance here, proud chest, and be able to shut off that inside move again. Okay, another look at a different variation of Z drill here with a different counter move, spin, keeping our head out, and we can see the guy on the left here does a little better job staying nice and tight to that defender. Within that bent arm's length away, you should be able to touch that dude the whole rep we're going here, okay? And the reason we set vertically on most of the stuff we're doing is because we see a lot of twist in our pass game, and we'll get to some twist pickup here in a little. But watching that counter move for the spin, watching the right guard here. Takes his initial set. 41 comes with the spin move. He gets his head back out, counters to it. 41 loses his footing, and we're able to protect the quarterback. I'll let it play at full speed. Great job getting the head back out, rebalancing, just like we work for that counter move at the start of our Z drill and our mirror drill. Okay, here's the left tackle again, working counter move and Z drill. One of the other counter moves we'll do is setting and not throwing your hands, letting the defender throw those hands on air, keeping those hands nice and low like we talked about for the punch down the line drill. This defender has nothing to target, no hands to slap. I love watching them throw moves on air on defense, and then he goes with that single hand punch and gets to that great pass protection demeanor right on the inside pec. Defender's path to depth of the quarterback, pigeon toe and push him to the opposite sideline, or get ready and counterbalance for that counter spin to the inside move if he's trying to still rush the passer. Okay, but great job setting with low hands there and keeping a good mirror drill. Once he gets to phase, now he's mirroring, staying tight with that inside pec all the way through. Okay, so a little different version of the mirror drill that we'll do. All right, another single hand punch from the right tackle here. He does a great job mirroring, and then a late spin counter. Same thing we talked about, single hand punch, late spin, head out, mirror with your feet, and stay right in front of that D end. Okay, so one of the things that has been tough for me as we've gotten better at this is you're teaching with most of the vertical sets that we do. If you're not careful for that mirror drill the way I was doing it, your guys will just have a tendency to back up all the time. And you can see this is a sophomore here during camp. He's fighting for a job to get on the field. And as he's working his mirror drill, you can see all he's doing is backing up, okay? And that's one of the things we really have to fight is staying within that bent arm's length. Once we get into this position where we're within that bent arm's length of the defender, we want to make contact. And then once we get to contact, we don't want to continue just backing up and vertically setting for no reason. Once we get to that contact phase, right here, we want to be able to anchor our feet in the ground. You can see we don't do a good job. Obviously, we don't want to see that foot way up in the air there. No power angles with our feet not in the ground. And this is the thing that I've really had to emphasize with the young guys is vertically setting or mirroring with depth does not mean running into the quarterback's lap. Okay, and you can see here now the last game of the season, the same guy at left guard here, again, in front of 45,000 people, has gotten a few more reps at this. He does a better job taking his initial set, tempoing down, and instead of just backing up at this point, he anchors his feet in the ground, does a good job punching with single hand here. All right, then mirroring that defender all the way through the rep, okay? So this is something you've really got to emphasize if you're going to more of a vertical set on the inside or the outside as possibly one of your answers to twist pickup. Okay, and part of the way I help them out with this is we'll do a version of Z drill just like this, where we'll, instead of starting, separated from the defender, we'll actually start from the fit, where we're in a good pass protection demeanor. Again, feet outside your hips, knees inside your ankles. All right, flat back, big ass, big chest, and we're targeted on the inside pec. So we can see Brendan's inside here. His left foot's his post foot, his right foot's his kick foot. So he's in that great pass pro demeanor. And now we're worked to that fit position. And once we get to here, instead of just backing up continually, I'm working now pressure with either hand. So as the defender fights to get past me to the outside, I'm able to fight pressure with that right hand here. Okay, and vice versa. If he's trying to cross my face and puts pressure on my left hand, I'm able to fight pressure with that left hand. Okay, so this is just another version of the Z drill we'll do that we will work the contact phase. So we can see defender works outside. Brendan 70 should be fighting with his right hand here. Defender crosses his face here. Now I want to see pressure with that left hand. And ideally, as guys get better at this, they're able to transition and keep that knee inside the ankle. Okay, and that'll help them be able to work the transition and even be able to transition back later in the drill. Okay, so good job pressure with pressure there by Brendan. Got to work on that knee flare a little bit for 70. Okay, we're in a good position here to start. A little too much bend from 79. We don't want to see him leaning this much in pass protection, but part of that is we've got to get that defender to understand he's putting pressure on the whole rep, okay? Got a little too much space there. All right, but that's one of the things I do to be able to help these guys out. Now, this is freshmen working the drill, so they've only been doing this for a couple days, but a decent demeanor here from 74, working his feet independently, just like in Z drill. Defender comes to the inside. He's able to fight pressure here. Okay, same thing for 74. Gets pressure to the outside. He's able to fight pressure with that right hand. Gets pressure to the inside. Is able to fight pressure with that left hand and keep his knees inside of his ankles with a good base that whole time. That's really what we're looking for now, combining drills, our hand drills with our feet drills. Okay. Good. Now that's some of the individual stuff. Now, when you look at pass protection schematically and from a protection standpoint, we've gotten some, like I said, twist pickup is the number one way teams pressure us. And we also see a fair amount of drop 8 in our conference. So we'll work these now more non-contact drills to be able to protect the quarterback and not just work the singular technique and schematics like we saw from some of those first drills. So we'll work some of these trigger drills where really what we're drilling here is their eyes, okay? So our uncovered guys in our pass protection, when you look at our trigger rules, and really to guarantee the inside of the pocket for the quarterback and give him somewhere to step up, all right? Our guards and centers, if they have nobody to set to, say in this next rep, you know, the center setting, there's no nose guard, he's going to settle and stay big right in the middle of the pocket. And the only way he'll trigger outside is if the gap or the man he's responsible for shows pressure in his inside. All right. If there's no pressure there, he's going to settle and get his head on a swivel the other way. So we're working some of these trigger drills now and understanding the pocket drills here for the center. In this drill, we're basically manned on here. These two are manned on the outside. The center might be working to one gap or another, specifically to start, depending on what the protection I call is. All right, looks like the center here is working initially to his left. And you can see he works to his left initially. Once he takes 2 to 3 kicks and that defender declares to the outside, where there is no color now inside of that right shoulder, he's going to settle now and re-trigger back to the inside. And what that helps us do is, you know, if this is, imagine it's the same drill, but this is the center, this is the guard, and this is the tackle. If it's the tackle getting beat to the outside, the quarterback is going to have to step up in the pocket this way to escape that. And the only way he can do that is if the guard gives plenty of surface area here and we can run and get a 2-on-1 to give the quarterback somewhere to step up here. Okay. And it really helps us out for any of the outside pressures we get. You know, we see some good pass rushers, obviously. If our tackles are having trouble on the outside, we got to give the quarterback somewhere to step up. And this is one of the things I'll do really to drill their eyes. It looks like the center's working to the right this time. Center works to the right. 3-tech declares upfield. Okay, the 3-tech is past the level of the shoulder. So the center's going to tempo down, get his head on a swivel, and look back for that inside. And this is one of the things that's helped us now when we see, you know, just a 4-man twist, that if defense is trying to get pressure with only 4 guys on defense, you got to have an answer to keep the quarterback protected. All right, so we're looking at this here, watching the center. Initially, he's working to his left. He's working to the mic initially. He's looking at the 3-tech. He sees the 3-tech working upfield. Instead of settling to this gap for no reason, he does a good job tempoing down, gets his head back on a swivel, sees color from the opposite defensive end, and can trigger back out and be able to be in a position to take a hit off the quarterback. Okay, we'll see a couple more of those here. All right, watching the center and the right guard. Again, the center gets no pressure, no threat to his gap. Settle, head on a swivel, and be able to take away that penetration so the quarterback, if he needs to, has somewhere to step up there. Okay, and throw the ball downfield. Okay, so same drill here now with the guards as the uncovered guys. They're working the same drill. The guards are setting. You can see the right guard does a pretty good job here. He's got his eyes on the end. The end declares outside past the level of that tackle's shoulder. He settles and is able to trigger with his shoulder physically on that nose. Okay, so that if we do get drop 8, we're able to take some chunks out of these defenders on the nose. You can see what I mean here, playing this big ass nose. All right, he's a lot bigger than our center. Our center played last year at 255 on his best day. Okay, this dude was about 330. So you guys, offensive line coaches out there, know how I feel sometimes placing the center one-on-one in pass protection. Well, I'm comfortable doing it if they're going to play drop 8 and they're going to try to beat our tackles upfield. Hell, we'll allow the center to sit there and take these free chunks out of that nose. And just take away their will to pass rush on a play-by-play basis. We just want to take little bites out of them every play so that by the time the fourth quarter rolls around, we're able to do whatever we want. Okay, same thing here. You can see a little different trigger now. Instead of the guard, looking at the right guard, instead of being able to trigger to the nose now, that defensive end doesn't clear the tackle's shoulder. So he does a great job with his eyes. There's still color to his gap. There's he can feel no one with his hand buffer or no presence inside of him, I can trigger with my shoulder now on the defensive end. And we can go take a bite out of 91 here. Okay, a little different scenario for the guard and the center there as they set to 58. There's still pressure in their gap, so they can work a 2-on-1 here and a 2-on-1 here. Okay, which is really helps us out a lot in pass protection, get as many 2-on-1s as we can. Okay, so we saw from the center and the guard there. We'll look the same thing, 67. I believe he's setting, sliding to that B gap here. 3-tech goes inside. He's got his eyes for the blitzer here. Blitzer stays and clears the shoulder of the tackle. He's now able to trigger and take a bite out of that nose and throw the ball downfield. Okay, so this was my answer to be able to guarantee the inside of the pocket for the quarterback. I'll speed some of these up so we can get one more drill in here. Okay, our redirect drill for twist pickup. The biggest thing that will work for this is when you ask my guys when we get a twist, the guy we've got to take care of first is the penetrator. If we attack the penetrator and stop the penetrator, the looper will get to the quarterback very few times. Okay, we'll take care of the penetrator first, and these things generally tend to take care of themselves. Okay, so what we're looking for in our twist pickup drill now is just a version of the punch down the line where we're working transition, stopping penetration from the penetrator, being able to possibly flatten him out to a looper. Sometimes I'll do these where the defender now is turned this way and we actually are turning and punching the shoulder, flattening that guy out to maybe a guard here, and being able now to transition back out vertically or flatten back out if you're playing inside for a looper coming back inside. Okay, so this is just a transition, flatten the defender and be ready to pick up a looper. We see Healy doing it here. Decent job there on the transition, but what I want to see is we want to see all our drills working together here, and he doesn't do a great job. We talked about on punch down the line. I still want to see these thumbs up and out in everything we do, okay? Got to get that attention to detail in everything we're doing as a program, okay? So when we look at that here, this is actually the center does a really good job doing the drill, 2 guys on one. So we actually get a 6-man pressure and somehow pick it up in a 5-man protection. But the center here is going to work to one side. We can see the center takes the nose, and we actually get a little chip on from 79 here, and we end up getting the nose. We stop penetration here, just like the drill, and he's able now to transition and pick up what would be a looper as 8 comes across, trigger with that low contact shoulder, and stop the looper. So somehow he actually ends up blocking 2 guys there. Conley, if you watch this, good job. All right, but it'd be the same drill if these 2 guys were to switch it. He'd be doing the same thing. We just wouldn't be blocking this guy. Here we happen to block 3 guys with 2. All right, but the same exact drill, exactly what we're looking for, transitioning, stopping the penetrator, and being able to pick up the looper. Same drill here. We get a twist to this side, a little stutter, and an exit with the end going first. Right guard does a good job seeing chest, getting his head on a swivel. He works the trigger drill we just saw. The tackle works the transition, stopping penetration, flattening him out, flattening that penetrator out, stopping the penetrator, and then kicking back out for the looper. Okay, so same exact drill with that twist pickup that we're trying to work. All right, similar situation here. Looking at the right tackle, stopping penetration, passing it off, and being able to kick back vertically. If you're a tackle, kicking back vertically for the looper. If you're a guard, you might be setting a little flatter and not setting quite as vertically. All right, but stop penetration and then rotate out for the looper. Okay. All right, one more situation here to get to. One drill that we'll do every day is a push-pull drill as a counter to our bull rush. And we work the contact phase with the vertical set mirror drill and a pressure with pressure. Now, if we get bull rush we're just working a counter leverage with our hips. So as we get the defender fit up, as we get bull and we recognize low helmet, bull rush from the defender, once we get contact, if we're under leveraged to the point where the defender's underneath us, we're going to slide our hip back and try to re-leverage ourselves under the defender. And as he now tries to pull us back, we're going to counterbalance with our hips, walking our hips back forward. Okay, so you can see here, Rico's on defense. As we get bull, he's actually going to slide his feet back and sink his hips to the point where he's getting now underneath the defender. And as he gets pull, he's going to walk his feet back out, transition back to bull. He's going to slide. And this is the only time I tell our guys where they might have 2 feet off the air or 2 feet in the air and be physically off the ground. But counterbalance, defender underneath him. He's got to re-leverage to the point where he's now, his hips are underneath the defenders. And as we get the pull now, he's counter leveraging the pull by walking his hips back out. Okay. 76 was really good at this as he became a senior. And like I said, a very good pass protector. His balance and his ability to transition into this push-pull drill very quickly was very good. Okay, but it looks like we're looking at the right tackle here. Okay, right tackle, he gets the bull, and you can see him contact. He recognizes low helmet from the defender. At this point, the defender's shoulder pads and hips are slightly below his, so he must sink his hips and slide his feet back is the only way he can re-leverage now to the point where he is underneath the defender. And you can see he gets to the point here where his hips now are underneath the defender's hips. Okay, so that's transitioning that bull rush push-pull drill. We'll watch the left tackle do it here, a little better angle. Set initial, gets an inside move. Notice his bull rush. You can see his shoulders and his hips are above the defender's hips and shoulders here. So he gets to this position. The only way he can re-leverage is to lose ground with his feet so that he can drive his hips back down and get his hips and his shoulders underneath the defenders. He goes straight to that sink and slide. And you can see now when we get to this point, his hips are now lower. He's able to stop penetration. Okay, so just letting that play through a little slower. Bull rush, slide those feet back and sink your hips so we can throw the ball downfield and make plays. One more here, I believe the right tackle with that bull rush counter. Setting, sliding feet back, sinking hips, and getting right underneath the defender. Okay, and then the second part of that, watching the left tackle here with the pull. As we get in position, if you feel the defender start to re-leverage and physically pull you forward, now what you've got to do to fight yourself out of this position here, with that head forward, walk those hips forward, small steps with your feet, and re-leverage yourself so that you're back in good pass pro demeanor right here with a flat back, chest, inside pec leverage, just like we talked about for the Z drill and the mirror drill. So we get that pull counter, walk your hips forward, and get your head out. Okay. So those are the things that we'll do on an everyday and year-round basis to help develop pass protectors in our offense. And I'm actually about to go out here on the field and do it with our guys in about 10 minutes. So, Coach, do you have any questions for me before I head out?
No, thank you so much. Love the film you showed. Do you have any specific drills and things you use for independent hands, or is it just a matter of the drills that you're doing and just having the guys work with you?
Yeah, the biggest thing is that the punch down the line drill we'll change up. Sometimes it'll be high hand, low hand. Sometimes it'll be single hand like we saw. I'll do a set drill where they're working similar to the Z drill or the mirror drill, but instead of working against a defender off the start, I'll have somebody with a med ball and he'll set. He might take an angle set. He might take a vertical set depending on what I'm starting with. And he might single hand punch with the outside hand depending on the set we're working. He might single hand punch and then transition. And I'll have another med ball to either single hand or double hand punch depending on what we're telling them. But like you mentioned, the independent hands is really a key to being able to pass protect at an elite level. And it's something that high school guys, high school kids, as they transition from the high school level to the college level, using their hands independently, using their feet independently, and using their feet independently of their hands, that's a big transition.